The third strategy in commercial property for adding tremendous value, forcing capital appreciation. You don't have to wait on your market. You can make your own market, increase capital values in three simple ways. Let's dive in today, and we'll start off with the easiest one, going on to the most involved one. You pick your strategy that fits you best. So on physical work, the thing I like to do as much as possible is the least amount of work, the least amount of moving parts, the least amount of things that can go wrong, and always identify the risk and try and either mitigate, minimize or transfer that risk in any way, shape or form I can. And on a light touch situation, what you really want to do with a commercial property, this is assuming you've got a vacant one, is you want to create some curb appeal, for a one-man band or a high street brand to go in there. And that could be, a simple strip out of the internals and a whitewash, so it looks huge when you walk in. It could be tidying up the shop front. It could be a simple case of putting, painting the shop front and putting a roller shutter on to make it safe. It could be all of those kind of things, or it could be a strip out, a whitewash, a shop front, and a new concrete floor to make it flat and without the cracks. It could be doing something to the car park outside, potentially a re-tarmac, depending on what kind of property this is. It could be in a high street, or it could be a retail parade, or it could be in a kind of destination retail strip next to a petrol station, for example. And in fact, the live deal, why it says live deal there, is one of the chaps in this group is negotiating on a deal right now, and it's very much kind of like this, where there's some car park, work on the car park required because there's a certain issue with the car park that is preventing a lot of customers coming to the stores. So if he fixed the issue with the car park, which is really, really simple, it's basically re-tarmacking or re-concreting, it's re-painting, the car parking bays. It's potentially putting up a nice sign so it looks like a prominent sign, as you would see in a retail park, and it's potentially some cladding on the exterior of the building. Now, after he pinged the leases over, it looks like all those repairs and maintenance liabilities are the domain of the tenants. But the thing is, the tenancies are coming towards an end. So imagine if you did some kind of deal whereby, you actually did those improvements subject to them signing a new 10, 12-year lease, then I'm sure you'll catch their ear pretty quick, where they've got no capex out, you're paying the legal fees and actually doing the works, despite them saying in the lease that they're on the hook for that, then that could really increase the value on that deal. I'm talking about an increase of like £500,000. It could be quite substantial on that one, which is quite cool. So, that's a pretty simple one. In terms of a mid-touch, one of the ones was like my strike deal, simply splitting multiple, a shop into smaller shops. In fact, the live deal up here, this chap, the deal he's looking at, that's another potentiality. There's two shops just now, and if one goes, we would split that one into potentially 4 shops at kind of 1,200 square feet. That's the plan. So one shop's probably paying in the region of, what is he paying, £14 or something. If they were split into 4 shops at 1,200 square feet, they would all be paying £20 all day long. Yeah. So you probably get somewhere in the region of a 30% upswing in rental. There would be some work to do, obviously, slight separation with concrete block work, but that's more of a mid-touch when you're splitting shops. And it's a really good, interesting deal. And hopefully, if he gets down the road, perhaps he could share that deal as well if we get further down the road. But it is a bit, it's private and confidential, but it's a great strategy. And so another mid touch is taking a shops and uppers, shops and tops, and just under prior PD permitted development or prior approval in England. You guys are fortunate down there, and we don't have the same luck up here. But under PD down south, if it's an office, you can convert within 56 days after you make the application It's basically your right to do it. The central government have given you a right to convert offices into residential use. Now that could be upstairs, which is normal. It could be at the rear, depending on access, depending on windows, or it could be below, depending on the same access and windows. So if it's below, it's predominantly on the corner where you actually have access, and on a hill where you have windows protruding, yeah? Or it could be a hill going the other way at the back where you have windows at the back. Or it could potentially be a very, very deep commercial shop where you cut off, you split it in two, and you make the rear half a residential on the ground floor, depending on access and windows, yeah? So that's a really simple conversion job. On larger conversions, oops. Oh, we're going the wrong way. Oh, sorry, guys. We seem to be, there we go. I've got this sussed, as you can see. So on larger conversions, probably like the strike as well, is converting a business into an investment where you have a trading business there and, you're buying the business like a Boomer's Beach type thing, and you're transferring that into investment where you may have the full strip out, you may have a new shop front. On one of the ones I'm looking at just now, we actually have to decrease the floor level. We don't have to do that, but it's in the tenant's interest long-term to do that so that they can walk directly in off the street as opposed to going up some stairs. So a lot more involved in that. Big commercial to residential developments like Alex is doing is the kind of larger conversions, if you like. Seriously profitable. A lot of moving parts going on, and a lot of being the conductor of a band of professionals kind of thing. A lot of analysis. Alex has got 40-foot spreadsheets. It's incredible, but it's exciting as well, and a seriously profitable strategy. Kind of like it. So here's a couple of visual interpretations of what we just talked about. So up the top, the light touch. This property was bought in 2011. April 2011, and it was 250,000. And in June 2013, we rented out for a 15-year term. As a national company, not a kind of high street brand, but they got about 400 units, so that's pretty good. And so the light touch on this one was actually lighter than the light touch. We didn't touch it at all because we managed to talk the tenant into doing all the light touch stuff, which is strip the shop front and repaint it, and internal modifications and painting and stuff. So it really, really was a lighter than a light touch, but it shows you on this one, the tenant actually spent £86,000. And they're not a huge outfit, 400 units. On the mid touch, this is the first ever deal we did in Edinburgh, and we bought it direct from the Allied Irish Bank, and it cost £117,000, and the mid touch was we spent £30,000 turning it into a gaming centre business that we then traded ourselves for 2 and a bit years, and then we sold it for quite a bit of profit. But we'll go into that next week or the week after as a deeper dive, how we made £600,000 on that as a flip,
and who lost,
and how we left 500,000 on the table or so. We'll go into that in a deeper dive in the numbers on the sketch pad. So I think you'll find that quite illuminating, but that's a good idea, a good kind of visual representation of what a mid-touch refurb's like.